Didn't it, Jess? Grant, from your perspective, how big a push has it been to get RB1 ready for today?
Well, this cup, because it's in a new class of boat, a completely new concept, it requires a lot of risk. So we've really pushed it a lot with the design of the boat, and therefore pulling that complex engineering together has been quite difficult. So it's taken longer than we thought to finish the boat. There's no hiding from that, but we're also made it very challenging in terms of the construction.
You've won the Cup 4 times before. You've contested 11 Cups. How is this one different from all the others?
Well, maybe it's the last one.
It's the Legacy Cup.
No, what it is because it's a completely new class of boat, it's kind of like when we built that huge catamaran all those years ago. We really are pushing the technology as we know it in the sport. And I really like that part, and luckily we've got Nick here alongside to worry even more than me about some of the design aspects.
Nick, did you ever think you'd be designing an America's Cup boat that looks like this one?
Well, we didn't get a lot of choice about what it looked like. I mean, that's given to us in the classroom. But as Ben says, 90,000 man-hours of design time is a huge effort. Being given the privilege of managing that much resource to put into something like this is a real honour. So yeah, and neat boat, not having a benchmark, not having a conservative option gives you a lot of freedom in the design.
So what do you do? Do you effectively start with a completely blank piece of paper with all those designers that you have under you and have to work out where the beginnings are? I mean, you have a class rule.
Yeah.
Just explain that a little bit to people who don't know about it and what sort of wiggle room there is around that.
So the class rule defines length, beam, size of the foils, weights, etc., etc. The process, yes, start with a blank sheet of paper. We had a boat we called Boat Zero. It was just putting on paper what we thought one of these things should look like. And then from there on, we treated it almost like a software development program. We have a boat 0.3, a boat 0.7, boat 1. And each of those, we kind of add more information and colour in between the lines and increase our understanding.
How many drawings have you produced, do you think, to get to this place?
Me, not very many at all.
But your team a great deal.
I've checked hundreds of thousands actually. Yes.
How big a collaboration as well has it been with the sailors, and how much of a collaboration is it between designers and sailors to get a boat like this?
Absolutely essential. The work we did with T5, there's a language that forms around the way we talk about the behaviour of the boat, the way the boat handles in the water. And so T5 was a really good opportunity for us to develop that kind of shared language and shared kind of understanding. Again, coming across to the simulator and the detail engineering work we do there, we need to produce a boat that does what the sailors need to do to win.
So if this boat has never been designed before, let alone sailed before, how do you prepare Ben to sail her? What do you do to make sure that sail goes well?
Well, we had T5 as we've seen, and also we have a simulator which is incredibly accurate. And it's a motion platform, and we get all the guys involved with the performance of the boat really, so the helmsman, the mainsail trimmer, the pilot, and other guys involved with sailing this boat. And so we put it through its paces and try and understand the performance really more for, as Nick said, working with the design team, what we think is going to make the boat faster. And then ultimately we've got to get out in RB1 and put it through its paces and understand the dynamics of this boat, which is going to be fascinating.
So what's the schedule now? What does it look like now up until Christmas? Are you allowed to say? Are the teams listening? Other teams will be listening.
They might be. Yeah, well, we're obviously going to get the boat, take it through some structural testing, and then get the boat sailing. And we have quite a tight time frame of training through this European winter. And then looking forward to the first event in Cagliari in Sardinia in April. And so that's our immediate timeline really, and then of course the focus on the Cup in 21, developing our second boat, which there's some reasonably tight timelines on that as well. So really the fun doesn't stop. We've been a huge effort to get this boat in the water, and we've got to keep charging on.
So fast forward a couple of days, you're out on the water for your first sail, Jim's on board with his doctor, and what are you looking for from the boat? What's Nick looking for? What are you looking for in terms of things to work on moving forward?
It's really, as I said, the dynamics of the boat, that's the hardest part to simulate, really. So the quicker we can understand the dynamics of this 75-foot foiling monohull, we can then implement that into our design strategy for the next boat and through to the Cup. And it's not just the hull, of course, it's the foils and the rig, the sails, that we've got to work out pretty quickly the best way to operate this boat. So yeah, it's very exciting.
Jim, this is just one of many Ineos sporting challenges that you have in the sporting calendar at the moment. We've got cycling, we've got obviously sailing, we've got football, we've got the sub-2, so much going on. You love a challenge, don't you? You love a sporting challenge.
Yes, we have got ourselves involved in quite a few serious challenges, I have to say, actually. We've got one tick in a box, of course. We've got the Tour de France. That went quite well. And actually, that was quite nail-biting right up until the end, right, the last 3 or 4 days, which I suspect this might follow a similar course, really, so to speak. But I think, they're all extraordinary challenges, and, winning the Champions League, breaking 2 hours, winning the America's Cup. But, these other sports, 3 sports, of course, weren't around 171 years ago. This has been the longest sort of sporting challenge on the planet, really. So, and this is an immense challenge, I think.
It's all about pushing boundaries, isn't it? That's what we're here to do.
Yeah.
We're not far away from our naming ceremony now, so I suppose it's the right time to ask you to unveil the name of the boat, and I suppose your reasons why you called her what you've called her.
Right, so I think you'll recognise the name. It's quite traditional, it's historic, it's got quite a lot of maritime provenance, I think. So the name of the boat will be Britannia. We'll have Britannia 1 and Britannia 2. I think it's a name that you can sail with pride under the name Britannia. I think it says quite a lot.
Okay, well, a century ago, Britannia was said to perform best in a strong blow and a lively sea, and it was what people referred to in those days as Britannia weather. So let's hope for plenty of that when we do, in fact, get to New Zealand next winter. But first, we're going to give you a brief history lesson in our yachting past and bring you up to the present day and, in fact, today's Britannia.